Why is the game not popping up? Okay. Not y'all racing. Hold on, I'm gonna make the screen bigger. I'm not really sure why it's small. There we go. There we go. All right. What's up, everybody? We're back for... I gotta stop saying Phoenix right. The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Now, before we get into this, can we just acknowledge that we are in the last couple of hours of the first month of 2022? The years are already flying by. Like, no. For me, I'm just trying to be more productive and more proactive this year. And am I the only one that feels guilty of like cutting people off? Not because they wronged you or because they did anything to you, but because they literally offer you no value. Like, for instance, I had this one friend, and well, he's not really a friend. See, that's the thing. He's not even really a friend. He's like an acquaintance. He used to come get his hair done, but I guess he stopped coming because he felt like my prices were too expensive, or maybe he couldn't afford it. I don't know. That's cool. That's fine. That's Danny. Whatever. But like, even when we would try the whole hanging out and being friends thing outside of like you being my client, it was just awkward. It was weird. And then like, he just annoyed me. Like, he just annoys me. He's always like messaging me and sending me little videos and shit. And like, I'm the type of person, like, if you send me a video, like, I'll watch it. I'll definitely watch it. But like, I'm probably watching it while I'm doing something else, like multitasking. So like, my first response is not to actually type a response back to you to be like, oh, that shit was funny, or, you know, whatever the case. I'll just watch it. I might laugh and keep it fucking moving, you know? I might send a little emoji and that's it. Some people be like expecting a long drawn out response to like something like that. I'm just not that person. Like, that's just an example, but like, I could tell he was just always like wanting more from me. Not like in a romantic way or anything, but just like, I just ain't got it to give, bro. So 2022 is the year of me not giving a fuck and cutting people off that don't add any value to my life. And that sounds so fucking, like mean. But I try to be such a considerate and thoughtful person to the point where I tend to deprive myself or cause myself stress and annoyance by putting up with it because I don't want to hurt other people's feelings. And I also don't want to be honest with him and tell him, look, you're boring me, you're not adding any value to my life, so you gotta go. So, I've just been ignoring the fuck out of people. And honestly, it felt kind of weird at first. But now it doesn't feel so bad. And I guess eventually they'll get the hint. I'm literally like ghosting everybody. I guess they'll get the hint, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what made me start talking about that, but I know people are busy, so it don't bother me, but an emoji is sufficient for me at least. That's what I thought too. Like, he'll see that I seen the video, and then he'll just like send question marks, like, okay, and I'm like, me watching the video wasn't enough? Like, y'all see me, I'm always like on here, I'm always streaming, I'm always working on shit, I'm always skating, I'm always driving. I just ain't got time for that. You gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for just letting me vent. We're gonna go ahead and get started. What? Maybe I don't want to take skip. I'll leave it off. All right. All right, let's do it. Sorry. Y'all know I love going to the damn options. Let's go.
The Empire of Japan. After opening its doors, a push for cultural transformation brought great waves of Western influence to this far eastern island nation. The revolution washed over the land, making life in the capital exciting and unsettling. It was a period of great change, and some were swept away by the tide.
Oh, we got voice acting and animation. Ooh.
But for one man, the turbulence of that era was just the beginning of an extraordinary story.
What? What have you done? Okay. I still can't believe it. I still can't believe this is happening. How can it be that just beyond the doors to this quiet little chamber is the highest court in Japan, waiting to decide my fate? What? Oh, no, nothing. Savior Claire's murderer. Sorry. My name is Renosuke something. I'm a second-year student at... Shit. I'm a second-year student at something. Shit, go back. My name is Renosuke Naruhodo. I'm a second-year student at the Imperial Yume University. Got it. 3 days ago, I somehow found myself in the middle of a horrifying incident. You said it's loud? Let me turn it down. I thought it was going to be more voice acting, so I turned it up. We'll just call him, yo, Ryu. Now here I am awaiting my trial. That's enough. He's not obliged to listen to such abuse, officer. Who are you? I'm this man's lawyer. I'll be defending him today. Lawyer? Yes, and until the judge has given his verdict on the case, no one has the right to treat him as a criminal. So you'll hold your tongue. Technicalities. Look at you. You haven't even graduated yet. Wait, where's this wind blowing inside the damn chambers? And yet, I still seem to know better than you how a court officer should behave. Ooh! Right, Ryunosuke? Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. What are you apologizing to me for? Oh, no, I suppose that wasn't my fault. But really, Kazuma, I never meant to drag you into this. I'm sorry. Ha 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 ha. There you go again, apologizing. Just like always. Though I must say, you've been all over the newspapers these past few days. Yume University professor murdered in cold blood by student. But obviously, you didn't actually do it, did you? Of course not. You have to believe me. I didn't do it. I could never murder someone. Then there's nothing to worry about. Straighten yourself up. Hold your head high. You mean, I believe you. I know you're innocent, Ryunosuke. Kazuma Asagi, my best friend, also in his second year at Yume University. He is far more clever than I, a star student in fact. He's even a qualified lawyer. Impressive. He's even a qualified lawyer. Impressive considering he's still an undergraduate. It's not that impressive. The very concept of lawyers is only a few years old, here in Japan anyway. My qualifications don't mean much yet. You said exactly the same thing 3 days ago. But I'm proud to have a friend like you, Kazuma. Truly. 3 days ago. Yes, that's when this all started. Congratulations, Kazuma. Looks like you're going to get to study abroad at last. I know. I've been forever dreaming of this day. Finally, those government elites have acknowledged my academic achievements and successes in court. You'll be representing Japan as you immerse yourself in the most sophisticated legal system in the world. I'm really happy for you and proud as your friend. There's not a soul in the university who doesn't know Kazuma's name. He's a living legend. It's like there's some mysterious aura billowing around his temple. I want to bring about change in our own legal system. That's why I have to cross the ocean to see the real thing with my own eyes. The heart of the British Empire. I wish I could see it too. Then come with me. We'd have a wild time tearing up the streets of Her Majesty's city of London together. If only it were that simple. Oh dear, look at the time. Better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. Think I'll stay and enjoy this place a while longer. Wait, what? Getting that salad tossed tonight. I like you and I want you. Wait, what?
Excuse me, bitch?
Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner. It was straight after that. That's when it happened. Saki, may I have a word? Professor, I didn't know you were coming. Well, this case has personal significance to me. But never mind that for now. Saki, you should go immediately to the judge's chambers. To His Excellency's chambers? Why? He was looking for you before. You advocating for the defense in this trial was a sudden decision. It seems there may be some confusion about procedures today as a result. Who is this man? I feel as though I've seen him at the university before. I see. I'll go at once then. I shall accompany you. All right then, Ryosuke. I'll see you in the courtroom. Yes. Thanks, Kazuma. I like the 3D character models. This is awkward. If I may. Yeah, sorry? You must be the defendant. Inosuke Naruhodo, I believe. Yes, that's right. My name is Yujin Mikotoba. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at Yume University. Mikotoba. Okay, got it. Professor Mikotoba. I've heard that name from Kazuma before. As I recall, he's been pushing to get the government to agree to Kazuma studying abroad. Asogi has told me about you. You and he are best friends, I understand. As such, I feel you should know. Know what? Well, as you've no doubt heard, Asogi has been granted permission to go and study in Great Britain. However, if he should fail to defend you in today's trial, I'm afraid that permission will be revoked and never granted again. What? As I suspected, you were unaware of this. I had a feeling Asogi may have chosen not to tell you. He's agreed to defend me knowing that if he fails, his dreams will be shattered? But I don't understand. Why would the government do such a thing? The administration has to choose from a large number of applicants for overseas studies. It's very difficult to persuade them to grant permission, even in the most favorable of circumstances. I don't believe... Hold up. I don't believe it. But I didn't do it. I swear it. I'm not even a murderer. I'm sure that's true. Nevertheless, I can assure you that proving your innocence will be no easy task. You see, there are certain peculiarities about today's trial. Sorry? What do you mean? You'll soon understand once proceedings get underway. But then what should I do? Well, naturally, I'm not going to suggest doing anything that could lead to a conviction. Right, so as soon as the trial starts, the judge will pose a certain question to the defense. When that happens, you must answer before anyone else. You must say, I do. I do? But what will the question be? Surely not, do you accept the accusations brought before you? Of course not. Defendant! Court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once. It would seem our surreptitious discussions are to be cut short. So allow me to summarize. Kazuma Asogi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. Of course, as the defendant, the final decision is yours. What are you waiting for? Do you want to be found guilty for failing to appear? Get moving! There's no point in anyone advocating for the likes of you anyway! This is it. If this trial goes badly, Kazuma's dreams of studying abroad are over. What's more, I'll be found guilty of murder. And so, with absolutely no idea what lay ahead, I embarked on an unforgettable trial. My one and only chance of proving my innocence The trial that would decide my destiny. So this is a courtroom. The Supreme Court of Judicature? Judicature? How do you say that? Judicature. I'm saying this all wrong. I know I am.
Judicature.
That is such an ugly word. The administration of justice. Where's Josh when you need him? No court in the land has more power. I don't much like the look of those people sitting in the public gallery. Lots of military and other uniforms in there. The powers that have demanded that this be a secret trial. A secret trial? A trial that is closed to ordinary members of the public. Only military and government officials may attend. What? But why? It'll become clear in time, but for now, you need to concentrate, Ryunosuke. It's about to begin. The court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. The prosecution is ready, Your Excellency. As is the defense. Before we begin, there is one point of order I would like to confirm. Yesterday evening, the defense made a last-minute request for a change of advocate. That is correct, Your Excellency. I made the request myself. Normal procedure is for the defendant's advocacy to be decided 2 days prior to trial. As this is an unusual circumstance, I am obliged to ask for final confirmation now. Who advocates for the defendant in this trial? This is it. This must be the question. Who's going to defend me? That's the question the professor meant. But then, if I say I do, I need to answer quickly. What should I do? Kazuma's the lawyer here. I can't defend myself. If I said I do, it would be tantamount to lying. And I've been accused of murder, for goodness sake. This is no time for lies. Try to stop fidgeting, Ryunosuke. It's distracting. But if I don't say I'll defend myself now, things can end very badly for my friend. Your Excellency, no confirmation is needed. As I am standing here beside the defendant, I hope it's clear.
Yes!
What is the meaning of this unruly outburst? I would like to inform the court that I, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, will be defending myself. You'll be? What? What are you playing at, Ryunosuke? Professor Mikotoba told me everything just now before the trial. He did what? He said that your dreams of studying abroad would be dashed if you were to lose. How sad. It means you don't have faith in me. Ooh? You think I won't be able to get you off? No, it's not that, really. It's just that, well, on the off chance that things don't go well for me, I couldn't bear to be the reason that you... Yes, I know that's how you'd feel, which is exactly why I decided not to tell you. Professor Mikotoba shouldn't have stuck his nose in. Very well. The court hereby recognizes the defendant's desire to advocate for himself in today's trial. Well, well. Does the accused admit defeat already? Renouncing his own counsel? Really?
Objection!
Make no mistake, counsel. This merely shows that the defendant's innocence is so apparent, he is confident he can speak for himself. Isn't that so, Naruhodo-san? Oh, yes, exactly! Exactly what I wasn't thinking. I'm not confident at all. In fact, my mind's a complete blank. I realize you're in charge now, but still, try not to look so bewildered. Wow. For a mere university student to be brought before the Supreme Court. You must have perpetrated a most heinous crime indeed. Are you no doubt aware that this is Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan? Accordingly, the very highest standards of conduct are expected of all present. Do I make myself clear? Defended Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. It is therefore my duty to assess your competence for the tasks you have undertaken. My competence? What does that mean? He's questioning your ability to do the job. Well, he can't be questioning it more than I am. So, let's start with the very simplest of questions. Yes. Kindly state before the court the name of the victim in this case. Well, that's easy enough. I've heard his name more times than I care to remember. But, wait. I'm so nervous, I can't even remember that! What was it again? Ryunosuke. Let me guess. Your mind's gone blank? You know me so well. All the relevant information for this case can be found in the court record. But I can't even find that! It's simple. You can access the court record with the press of... If you ever find you've forgotten something, just consult that. It's all in there. This is the list of evidence you've collected. Now try switching to people instead. You'll find details about the victim in here. When you're done, just press B to go back. John H. Wilson, the victim of this case. He was a visiting professor of medicine at Yume University of the British Empire. So remember everything to do with the case can be found in the court record. Now, you better not keep His Excellency waiting any longer. Go on. Find the victim in the people section of the court record, then press Y to present. Try now.
Yes!
The victim's name was Dr. John H. Wilson. Wow, at least you can remember the name of the esteemed member of your own university. Dr. Wilson was a visiting professor from England invited to Yume University 3 years ago. Indeed, which is the reason why this case has such profound implications. The British Empire is at present our country's most valuable foreign ally. And as most of you will be aware, we have just signed a new treaty together after lengthy negotiations. There can't be anyone who hasn't heard of the Anglo-Japan Treaty of Friendship and Navigation. Oh my God, I cannot read. And yet, despite these delicate circumstances, the blood of an Englishman has been spilt on our soil. You two are both undergraduates at the Imperial Yume University, are you not? Murdering a professor from the very institution that provides your education. Have you no honor? But I didn't do it. This case is coming from under great scrutiny from our allies on the other side of the world. The court therefore wishes for a speedy resolution to this matter. In other words, our feeble government is scared of upsetting England's policymakers. And you're a convenient and expendable scapegoat to blame for this crime. So that's why this trial has these unusual peculiarities, is it? Exactly. Our government needs to convict someone as quickly as possible. All because the victim was an Englishman. Yes, Dr. Wilson was an Englishman. But nationalities and treaties won't make any difference for me here. The fact is, I was there at the scene of the crime. Oh dear, look at the time. I better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a little... Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a little longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class tomorrow, then, partner. The British Empire. Wow, it's incredible to think... Wait. I've seen that man at university. I'm sure he's a visiting professor from Great Britain. I don't know his name, but still. I should go and say hello. So I went over to the professor's table and introduced myself to Dr. Wilson. Now then, let me pose my next question to you, Defendant Noruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. How did this professor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson, lose his life? State before the court the cause of death. The cause of death. Obviously, that was, Yunosuke. Remember that in court. Every assertion must be backed up by evidence. By evidence? But how? Find the piece of evidence that shows the professor's cause of death and select present. Do it now. Death occurred a little while after 2 p.m. and was caused by loss of blood from a gunshot to the chest. The bullet did not pass through the victim's body.
Yes!
Well, according to this document, the victim suffered a hemorrhagic death due to gunshot trauma. Learn to read, you imbecile! That's the post-mortem report, I take it. Sorry, yes, that's right. The post-mortem report. In the West, a doctor dissects corpses to identify the cause of death in an autopsy. But here in Japan, a police officer merely inspects the body and draws conclusions that way. Oh, I see. As long as I'm not going to be tested on any of this later. This is a so-called photographic print of the scene of the crime. You can clearly discern scorch marks around the bullet hole produced by the powder explosion. In other words, we should assume that the victim was shot at close range. Thank you, Counsel. The court will accept this modern scientific evidence into the record. So that's a photographic print. Well, that's something I've never seen before. It's clearly superior to a drawing, The detail is incredible. Very well. I am satisfied with your answers. Let us start the trial.
Certainly, Your Excellency. So, without further ado, in order to better apprise the court with the facts of the case, the prosecution hereby calls its first witness, who was there at the scene of the crime when it happened.
This is it then. I think I may have worked out what the professor had in mind. The professor? You mean Dr. Makotoba? Yes, clearly you're the defense lawyer today, not me. But that doesn't mean... Well, I can still act as your assistant.
Ah, of course.
When he was speaking with me before, he simply said, Kazuma Asagi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. He really has been sticking his oar in, hasn't he? Maybe, but any help you can give me would be greatly appreciated, Kazuma. Well, my first piece of advice is rein in that crazy look of bewilderment and control the, quote, cold sweats. Only if you rein in that crazy headband and control the cold stares first.
Witness, state your name and occupation for the court, please.
Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I am the head waiter at a Western-style restaurant called Le Carnival.
Ooh, what the fuck is that?
Bruh.
Are you alright? You seem to be coughing up some, It's a regular occurrence. It doesn't really bother me. Well, it really should.
As everyone knows, the capital southeastern quarter was developed for foreign visitors some years ago. It's become a very fashionable district now, full of hotels to accommodate overseas guests. This grim crime occurred in one of the district's so-called restaurants, an Occidental eatery, 3 days ago.
Understood. Osanaga-san, you will kindly tell the court everything you can about the incident. At once, sir.
And no petty interjections from the aspiring lawyer boy, please.
Oh, perspiring maybe, but aspiring? It was just after 2 p.m. on the day in question. We had few diners at that time of day. The lunchtime rush was over, and there was only 3 tables still occupied. That fits in with my memory of it, too. There was hardly anyone else in the place. When I was in the kitchen, putting away crockery and cutlery, a gunshot rang out, so I hurried out to the dining area to see what had happened. I found the victim, an English gentleman slumped in his chair, and standing immediately beside him, gun in hand, was the accused university student.
Yes!
Hold on, let me just clarify something here. While I did pick up a gun that I found lying on the floor beside the professor, I didn't shoot him.
Objection!
I believe I asked you to refrain from petty interjections. The court wishes to listen to the witness's report of what he saw, you amateur. But
The next time you interrupt at an inappropriate time, you will be penalized, defended Nurahodo. Don't worry, Ryunosuke. You'll have your chance to fight back. For now, we must just quietly listen to the witness. Ugh.
if I may confirm one point, waiter. Standing beside the victim with a gun in his hand was the same man we see here in court today.
Yes, without question.
I see. And apart from the accused, was there anyone else standing beside the victim?
No. There was no one around the table but the deceased Englishman and the university student. Wait, what did he just say? There was no one else around that table? What's the matter, Ryunosuke? That's just not right. When I went over to Dr. Wilson to say hello, there was a woman sitting opposite him at his table. Really? And that's not something the waiter could have missed. I've been warned about interjecting, but still, what should I do? I just really wanted to say something, but I was told not to interject. Ryunosuke, if your parents tell you to study, you're the kind of man who would diligently get to work, aren't you? I suppose I am. I'd never have gotten into Yume University otherwise. But you can't just always follow the rules in life, you know. If you don't say what you want to say right now, you'll seriously regret it when you're found guilty. All right, you scared me. I won't forget that piece of advice in a hurry. And there is something I want to say. I'm just going to shut my eyes and say it.
Yes!
Just a moment, please. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone that day. I'm sure of it. There was a lady sitting with him at the same table.
Objection!
Dear me, what are we going to do with you? With your blatant disregard for court proceedings, I'm beginning to wonder if you're not a fraud. Could it be that the accused, a smear student, is not a real lawyer after all?
But I'm sure of what I saw. Osokanaka-san, is there any chance you're mistaken? Perhaps your memory of events is hazy. No. The deceased gentleman came to dine alone. I don't believe it. I actually have a rough plan of the restaurant as it was that day. Please have a look if you like to. Let me see. Sketch of the establishment's layout drawn by yourself, I presume. That's right. I'm afraid I used the back of my business card. It was a turbulent situation. However, as you can see, the gentleman in question was seated alone. Well, you're clearly a very conscientious waiter. Thank you, sir. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Well, is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course, here you are. What was that about? He's been completely calm and collected until now. The waiter's business card has been entered into the court record. He's handling people's food?
So the court has now heard the process of the case.
Yes, at the moment the gunshot was heard in the restaurant. The only person in close proximity to the victim was the defendant on trial today. It would seem we are looking at a black and white case here. Defendant Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. If you admit your guilt at this stage, the court is willing to look mercifully upon you.
In other words, you may have some small reprieve in terms of your inevitable punishment. I call this waiter as an unsworn witness in order to explain the details of the case to the court. But I must warn the defense if you're determined to pursue matters further in this case. The prosecution has decisive evidence from sworn witnesses who were present at the scene of the crime.
What do you think I should do, Kazuma? What do you mean? Well, I'm going to be found guilty one way or another, it seems. Wouldn't it be sensible to plead guilty at this stage and hope for a more lenient sentence? Everyone keeps telling me that this trial is unusual about these peculiarities. You've said it. Professor Makotoba said it, and so has the judge and the prosecution. I'm scared of what lies ahead if I push this. As I said from the outset, I believe you're innocent. I trust you. And yet, despite knowing that, you're willing to throw that trust back in my face? Is that it? What? If the accused is in fact innocent, then a defense lawyer is duty-bound to prove that innocence by whatever means necessary. Are you just going to abandon that duty? Are you going to give up on yourself? The battle hasn't even begun yet, Ryunosuke. The defense pleads not guilty, Your Excellency. We invite the prosecution to stop making empty threats and bring out its witnesses. Then we'll see just how decisive this evidence really is.
You wanna go, bitch? Let's go!
Indeed. Prosecutor Ouchi, please continue with proceedings.
Well, you were warned. The young can be so reckless. You know, many call me a saint, but I can be a devil when I want to be.
Ugh.
In a few short moments from now, that dumbstruck young mouth of yours will be silenced forever. The prosecution calls its next witnesses.
Very well. Officer, bring forth the witnesses at once.
Witnesses, kindly state your names and occupations for the court.
Yes, sir.
The Great Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant Iesa Nosa, reporting for duty, sir.
Myself, I find employers, purveyor of fine articles of antiquity from the efflorescence of our nation, Nippon, and conduct my trade from Rasute, a humble premise in the 2nd District, Kyoryo, Korekuta, at your service. An antique dealer and a soldier? What an unusual pairing.
Both of these gentlemen were present at the restaurant on the day in question.
They must be the diners at the other table that the waiter mentioned.
Myself, I habitually take tea on the most exquisite aroma at the establishment in question, always post-noon, and not infrequently converse with interested parties regarding the curios with which I make my business.
I can't understand a word that old man is saying. He is an antique dealer, and it sounds like he's a regular at Le Carnival. He seeks out potential customers who may have an interest in antiques and tries to sell his wares to them. He obviously targets Le Carnival because it's a high-class restaurant with rich clientele. Right, I see. Although, to be honest, that sergeant looks more like he'd be a seller rather than a buyer.
Now, you both witnessed the precise moment of this most atrocious incident. Is that correct? Affirmative. The enemy unit was seen attacking the foreigner in what can only be described as an act of war, sir. It was that black uniformed rogue infantryman over there who unloaded his firearm, sir.
This man is impossible to understand as impossible to understand as the other. I cannot be a voice actor if I can't read. But I'm almost sure I heard a strange noise during that last thing he said. So, this is decisive evidence the prosecution was threatening. The soldier is claiming that he actually saw the precise moment you shocked the victim dead. Yes. Well, are you starting to feel uncomfortable? If I'm honest, I was feeling uncomfortable from the start. Now, the court will hear your formal testimony, please. You will state everything you saw at the precise moment that the incident occurred.
Sir, yes, sir. Standing by. Ready to report, sir.
Unsavory memories of a most acerbic afternoon.
I was ingesting a regulation beefsteak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man.
Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman.
At the precise moment, a firearm was discharged. I observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired upon the English civilian, and from the back the cowardly little weasel.
I was on my hands and knees investigating whereabouts of my mysteriously absconded precious curio.
Well, so you, Serginosa, actually witnessed a vital moment. You saw the split second when the defendant fired the weapon at the victim. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. That wicked university cadet, sir. The cruel and unforgivable enemy.
What times we live in when an English gentleman may be assailed in broad daylight.
But this is ridiculous! I didn't shoot anyone!
Is that really true, Ryunosuke?
Yes! All I did was pick up the gun that I saw lying on the floor. After I said hello to Dr. Wilson, I went back to my table and sat drinking some coffee. Then when I finished, I got up from my seat to leave the restaurant. When I noticed an English-made gun next to the chair where the professor was sitting. I thought perhaps the professor had dropped it. So I bent down, and just as I was picking it up, well, if that's the truth, there was obviously a criminal on the scene somewhere. And somewhere in these two witnesses' testimonies, there's a clue as to who that criminal was. There is? Why did my game just stop? Ryunosuke, we must cross-examine the witness. Cross-examine? Do it now. As we have heard, Your Excellency, there is no room for doubt in the testimony of these witnesses. The defendant is clearly guilty. It's time to bring this despicable student to justice. Certainly. The testimony the court has just heard eliminates any vestige of doubt. Therefore, it is my grave duty to declare. Yes. What in the name of the Imperial is the meaning of this outburst? I mean the defense demands its right to cross-examination. Dear me, dear me. Let me guess. The Hachimaki headband boy next door told me to do it? How pathetic!
How do you know?
The prosecution objects! This is a clear waste of time! The defendant obviously has no experience. How can he possibly carry out a cross-examination?
Objection!
The defense is asserting its right to a cross-examination. Whether or not you think he's capable of it is irrelevant.
Ooh.
Kazuma's so commanding.
Very well.
Now I'm getting the voices mixed up. Let the defense conduct a cross-examination of the witnesses. All right, this is where the battle really begins for Yunosuke.
But I don't even know what I have to do in a cross-examination.
Isn't it obvious? You have to expose the lies in the witnesses' test statements.
How?
You didn't fire the gun, which means that what that soldier said has to be a lie.
Well, yes, but
It's just a case of proving it, and the key to doing that is the evidence.
right, evidence.
All you need to do is present some decisive and indisputable evidence that proves the witness is lying. Now, let's go, Ryunosuke. Don't let them beat you.
All right then. It's all or nothing.
Okay.
Yes!
So you're saying that you actually saw me at that time?
Affirmative! I saw you. Laughing, cackling like a madman as you trained the barrel of your gun on the English civilian.
But that's impossible. I only... Allow me to confirm just one point, please.
What's that, Private?
Thinking carefully about the statement you just made, it seems to me that it must have been just after you heard the gunshot that you looked over to the victim's table.
And so, what if it was?
Well, if that was really the case, it would mean that you didn't in fact see the precise moment when the killer actually fired the gun.
Ah! A double R! My sixth sense. Sorry? My sixth sense of danger. I picked up the waves of murderous energy radiating from your foul mind. Which means, a split second before you pulled the trigger, I was looking right at you, Cadet.
Surely that's not really possible, is it?
Do you think I would have gotten where I am today in the army if I couldn't sense danger in the air, son?
Well, it would seem this soldier is absolutely convinced that he saw you do the deed. This is not good. Wait, what? The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel.
Yes!
So this black uniformed university cadet, you're saying that was...
Ah! I've had just about enough of your sauce, Cadet. Who else do you see around here in black uniform,
Well, there's someone standing right next to me who fits the description as well, but...
It was you, you little weasel! You unloaded the firearm on that man! From his back! And you call yourself a citizen of the great empire of Nippon? You disgust me!
What is it, Ryunosuke? I'm not quite sure. It's something that the sergeant just said, but I can't put my finger on it. Something's playing on my mind. In that case, check back over to the details of the evidence you gathered in the court record. And if you find any inconsistency in there with what the witness just said, then don't hold back. Present the evidence to the court, thrust it in the witness's face, and make him choke on it.
Yes!
What are you playing at, Cadet? What is the meaning of this subordination? Thrusting some photographic print in my mustache.
An inconsistency, sir.
I mean, yes! There is a clear inconsistency here. What nonsense! What could this print possibly tell us that we don't already know?
Well, obviously, that, I know what I want to say, but the words just won't come out of my mouth.
I think this proves beyond any doubt, Your Excellency, that there is no place for an amateur student here in this grand courtroom.
This is so frustrating. Oh, please. Surely this doesn't require an explanation. It couldn't be more plain. To spell it out would be an insult to the court.
Cosmo, what? What are you talking about?
It's apparent from a single glance at the photographic print presented by the defense that there is a clear discrepancy here with the sergeant's statement.
What?
Sergeant Iesa Nosa.
Yes, sir. What, sir?
The statement you just made was this. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel.
Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. I witnessed the crime with my own military-grade eyes, sir.
Yes!
But no, that just can't be. And why not, Cadet? Because.
Take a close look at the print. The victim, Dr. Wilson, died from a bullet wound to the chest.
Ah,
Sergeant, according to your witness statement, the culprit shot the victim from behind. And that is the obvious discrepancy here. Well, how do you explain it? What was that? Something just popped up from behind his back, but he pushed it down again. Certainly, there is a clear discrepancy with the facts here. Would you not agree, Sergeant Nosa?
yes, sir. At this juncture, that would appear to be indisputable. Until the moment I heard the firearm discharge, my eyes were firmly fixed on the delicious Le Carnival steak, sir. What?
The last testimony the court heard has proven one thing beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness, Sergeant Iesa Nosa, did not see the defendant firing a gun at all.
That's absurd.
I think the conclusion we must draw is simple. There is no place for an amateur prosecutor here in this grand courtroom. There's been a complete turnabout in the mood of this trial just from that one discrepancy. So this is what being an ace attorney is all about. But I definitely saw him. That university cadet there, he was pointing the firearm directly at the victim's back.
Yes!
But I never fired the gun. All I did was pick it up off the floor. And you, old man, you didn't see the moment the victim was shot either?
Myself, I already been quite clear. The gunshot interests me not. I was far too busy on the floor.
Busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing?
Hunting for treasure.
Treasure?
Indeed! The Hoei-era Koban, my prized coin! On each occasion when I visit that restaurant, it is my habitude to place in my bosom pocket a peculiar trinket of interest from my shop, Rasute,
In the hope of meeting a rich diner who might like to buy from you?
On the day under scrutiny, it was the military man that I proffered my Hoei treasure. I believed that he would purchase such a rare find. I did not, but I was presented with a little alternative. And then, after averting my eyes for the briefest of moments, it was there no more. It simply vanished.
The Koban vanished?
Hunting around under the table, I was in case mayhap it had fallen there. And then it happened.
You heard the gunshot, you mean?
Indeed I did, but I heeded it not, for I was concerned only with finding my absconded Hoei treasure. Nothing could distract me.
Out of interest, did you find the coin in the end?
No.
Wait, what? Bruh.
I see.
That lamentable day, the precious Hoei Koban was lost to me. No doubt some unscrupulous scoundrel pocketed the prize coin for himself.
As I am sure everyone present is aware, this case demands a swift and decisive resolution. Our government has promised to send a full report to Great Britain by telegraph this very afternoon. Nevertheless, the witness testimony the court has just heard was inconclusive. No matter how subservient our government feels, it must be to the British. It would be unforgivable to deliver a verdict on this trial right now. What's your position, Prosecutor Auchi?
Worry not, Your Excellency. The defendant may have fled a tiger at the front gate, but he will find a wolf at the back. My witnesses have further testimony to make.
Explain.
Upon hearing their next statements, it will become clear, abundantly clear, that there was only one person who could possibly have committed this despicable crime. The equally despicable defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
What? He really seems to have a despicable opinion of you, doesn't he? Very well. The court invites the witnesses to testify again. You will thoroughly explain the reasoning behind the prosecution's allegation. Is that clear?
As clear as Corico glass, Your Excellency. Yes, sir. At once, sir. Awaiting signals to testify, sir.
Excuse me, but there's something or someone peeking out over your shoulder, I think.
Affirmative. The newest member of the Nosa family to rise up through the ranks. Sir, name, Aido.
It would seem those straps are a sign of the sergeant being too strapped to afford a nanny.
Aido Tenshun. Your father's about to quell the enemy. Watch and learn, my boy.
The true culprit.
Even if what I saw wasn't the precise moment the firearm was discharged, it's almost the same thing. Yes, pointing his gun at the Ford man. He was that young lad in black. That much I myself did see. Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present. Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself. Therefore, no one other than the black uniformed cadet could have dispatched the Englishman. Over and out.
These testimonies.
Yes.
Wait, that's nonsense. The victim, Dr. Wilson, wasn't alone at all.
Please, enough of these outbursts already.
But there was a woman. There was a young woman at his table. You must have seen her. Everyone there must have seen her.
Objection!
If you call yourself a lawyer, then you will respect the rules of the court and speak accordingly. We are not here to listen to your fantasies.
Ugh.
It is evident beyond all reasonable doubt that the victim was alone at the time of the incident. The prosecution has photographic evidence of this fact.
Is this a photographic print of the scene of the crime, counsel?
Indeed. Of the table at which the victim was dining, taken by an investigator immediately after the incident. As can plainly be seen, there is only one place set.
Certainly, based on the appearance of this print. It would be reasonable to conclude that the victim was not in the company of anyone else. This doesn't make any sense. The court will add this new photographic evidence to the record. I don't understand. What's going on here? It's just not possible that nobody else saw that woman. The waiter before said the same thing. He maintains that Dr. Wilson came to the restaurant alone as well. But that's not true. I saw her. I swear that I saw a woman with him. It would seem that we'll be able to telegraph the report to Great Britain on time after all. The witness testimonies we have just heard leave no further room for doubt.
These are very sensitive political times, as we all know. The ink is still fresh on the treaty with Great Britain. To think that I, Takasuchi Aiuchi, will have contributed to the amity of these two great empires is an honor. How can this be happening? The judge is ready to rule.
Stand tall, Ryunosuke. It's not over yet.
What?
If what you say is true, then there is something going on here behind the scenes. And now is your chance to expose it, to draw out the truth, in your cross-examination. I don't know, Kazuma. The defense is entitled to cross-examine the witnesses, but make it quick, understood?
Tisk! Rules can be so unbending at times.
Ugh. Let's take a look. Hold the fuck up. Okay, never mind. I'm trying to find a discrepancy. I don't see one though. All right.
Yes!
Yes, it may be true that I was holding the gun at that point in time. But I've told you already, that's only because I picked it up off the floor.
Well, obviously, as the culprit, that's the only way you could explain it away.
I had just finished drinking my coffee and I was about to leave the restaurant when I noticed a gun on the floor at Dr. Wilson's feet, so I picked it up. And at that exact moment, a gunshot rang out in my ears.
Full of events beyond our control, life is.
Sorry? What do you mean?
In your case, you found a pistol on the floor and picked it up, which precipitated this testing predicament. Whereas, conversely, I failed to pick up the Koban from the floor and find myself in an equally testing predicament as a result. Anyway, the fact remains. Myself, I did see you, with pistol in hand, standing over the foreigner.
Yes!
So you actually saw that with your own eyes, did you? The victim, Dr. Wilson, dining alone?
That I did. Forgive me for the position I place you in. So, the testimonies of the old man, the soldier, and the waiter all agree on that point. Isn't that interesting? And let us not forget the incontestable evidence we have to support their statements as well. As can clearly be seen, there is only a single beefsteak on the victim's table, a meal for one.
Oh. The antiques dealer, the sergeant, and the waiter who testified before. It's not impossible that they're all lying. But if so, then why? If I'm perfectly honest, I have absolutely no idea.
Yes!
You must have noticed someone else at Dr. Wilson's table. There was a lady there.
As you've been at pains to point out time and time again, I feel I'm growing a callus in my ear. And yet, no one else appears to have caught even a glimpse of this woman.
Sorry, I'm getting real lazy. I wonder if there was a reason why the victim was eating at that time of day and why he was alone.
Yes, Your Excellency. There was indeed a reason.
There was?
This was found in the victim's jacket pocket.
What is that, Counsel?
It is a medical report card, Your Excellency. It was seen that the victim had an appointment at a clinic prior to visiting the restaurant.
Had a clinic? Yes, that would indeed appear to be an entry for the date in question. 19th November, noon to past 1 p.m. The very day of the incident.
So, the victim went for a late lunch following his appointment. The explanation couldn't be more simple. The prosecution felt no need to submit this evidence before, as it really has no bearing on this case.
I wonder. What do you think, Ryunosuke? Well, it's hard to see how it could be related, really. Remember, you can request for it to be entered into the court record as evidence if you think it can be useful. Should I ask for Dr. Wilson's medical report card to be submitted as evidence?
Yes!
If I may, I'd like to ask that the medical report card be submitted as evidence, Your Excellency.
On what grounds? The court has already heard conclusive witness testimony. Additional evidence will be extraneous. Not to mention that the victim's movements prior to his arrival at the restaurant are of no concern.
Objection!
Whether or not they are of concern is up to us to decide. We have a right to explore all possible avenues.
I beg your pardon?
You have no authority to refuse a perfectly valid request for the submission of evidence. Very well. The court will grant the defense's request.
Youngsters these days are forever asserting their rights. It's a most disturbing trend.
Officer, kindly add the victim's medical report card to the court record. What we need right now is new clues. We have to explore things from every possible angle, even if they don't seem relevant at first. Right, I hear you.
You can conspire to prolong this trial as much as you like, but at the end of the day, after the festival, it's the day after the festival all ready for you. Or perhaps you'd forgotten that these witnesses' testimonies leave no room for doubt. Feel free to reiterate the accused, Kurekuta-san.
Let me backtrack.
Yes!
No. It's not the same thing at all. For a start, I didn't fire that gun.
we have a difference of opinion on that. The opinion of a uniformed officer versus that of a fledgling cadet. I don't think so. Consider this, defendant. Just a moment ago, I blinked. Did you? Did you see it? Did you see me blink? How could I? And yet, it is an undeniable fact that I did blink. So there you have it. Have what? Tension! Oh, that's supposed to be attention. The sound of the firearm ringing in my ears in the very next moment. I saw you waving the gun at the Englishman. I think that says it all, don't you? And let us not forget that the antiques dealer witnessed the accused in this most incriminating position as well. Isn't that so, Karakura-san? All right, now let's take a look at this medical record. That's obviously important. I just wanted to trace anything else. Okay, we can't do anything with it. Alright, so we need to press something else, maybe. I don't feel like I need to press this.
Yes!
Why aren't you telling the truth? What did you say, Cadet? I clearly remember. There was a woman sitting across the table from the professor. Perhaps one of you may not have noticed, but for both of you to have failed to see the professor's dining companion is just not possible. Unfortunately for you, Defendant Naruhodo, it's not just a case of these two witnesses alone. Sorry? The waiter, whose testimony the court heard earlier, clearly stated the same thing. He also said that the victim was alone. That's right. Precisely. In other words, you are the sole proponent of this phantom lady. But if such a woman were indeed present at the scene, the prosecution demands to see proof. And if no such proof exists, the prosecution demands that no further mention of this phantom woman be made. It is a blatant waste of the court's time. I gotta agree with him there if he ain't got nothing. Excellent work. We've gleaned some new information now. Well, yes, but I don't feel like it changes much. I can't see that it brings any real discrepancies to light. I wouldn't be so sure. Let me see that medical report card you got before. Oh, you mean this? Yes, this is a brand new piece of evidence. So perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail. How exactly? You notice that some pieces of evidence bear a magnifying glass. These are the ones that you may examine. Oh. The crosshairs start to pulsate. Press A to investigate further.
So, partner, I think you should take a closer look at this medical report card. See if there isn't something new to be learned by examining it in more detail. Alright, I'll see what I can do. It says Hada Clinic on this medical report card. I hate clinics almost as much as I hate hospitals and surgeries. Aren't they all the same? When I was 5, I caught the only cold I ever had in my life. And I remember even though I felt awful already, I had to have this hideous injection in my right arm. I'll never forget it. Never in my whole life. Most people would give their right arm to have only had one cold in their whole life. Anyway, I don't think this is a clinic where they treat people for illnesses like that. Let's keep looking for clues. We don't want to miss anything. Oh, it says the same thing. Come on, skip! Oh. Let's have a look. This is some kind of medical history. Ah, and there's an entry for the day the professor was killed. Extraction of molar with topical anesthesia. Extraction of molar? You mean he had a tooth taken out? It would seem so. Just before the incident, he had a bad tooth removed. Perhaps they use laughing gas. That's the most modern practice in the West for pain relief. Yes, I've heard of this anesthesia. Although it's hard to believe there's anything that can actually stop you feeling pain. There's a cautionary note from the medical practitioner as well. Strictly no food or drink besides water for 3 hours post-procedure until anesthetic effects have passed. Really? Sounds like information worth bearing in mind. The meaning of that one particular statement totally changes. So I think it's time we listen to the testimony again, don't you? Definitely! This is the only thing I got. Yeah, I'm gonna go back. Let's have a look. Wait, no. I meant to press, no! I meant to press present! Damn it! Give me a second. Jesus. Come on! Come on!
Yes!
I think, what are you wittering, lad? Call yourself a lawyer? I wish I could, but first and foremost here, I'm the accused. Ryunosuke. Everyone stumbles on their words occasionally. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks, Kazuma. I could see it quite clearly in that cross-examination you just carried out, when you raised your hand straight up like that, so purposefully. You knew exactly what it was you wanted to say. Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking. All right, and thanks for the advice. Korekura-san, this is a medical report card belonging to the victim.
Ah, I see, and I don't see. What of it, boy?
Comparing what is written on this report card with your witness statement, something clearly doesn't add up.
Objection!
Dear me, have you forgotten my words so soon, you amateur?
Sorry, what?
You are not to interrupt court proceedings with your amateurish drivel.
But
let's see if I can explain in words you might understand. It was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at the restaurant. Whatever he may or may not have done before that time is completely irrelevant.
But that's... Remember, Ryunosuke, you don't have to use clever language or fancy words. Just make your point.
Your Excellency, I believe we're finished here. There is surely no need to prolong this trial further. The witness testimonies of the court have been clear and concise. This medical report card has no bearing on the matter at all, for the simple reason that there is no one else besides this pale-faced pupil.
Ooh. This medical report card has nothing to do with the case? Do you really believe that?
What? That outburst half petrified me, boy. Of course I believe it. How can it possibly be irrelevant?
Perhaps because Hata Clinic, which issued the report card, is a dental clinic.
A dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean something to me?
Perhaps if I told you that the victim had just had a tooth extracted?
What? What's this now?
And furthermore, if I told you that as a result the victim had been forbidden from eating? Just what are you trying to say, Cadet? He had orders not to eat? So what? It's all written up in here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthesia wears off.
What? No, that can't.
Korekura-san!
What, boy? What?
As you just heard, when he was killed sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all.
No.
Additionally, there's more? You have assured the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dining alone. But that cannot possibly be the case. Because the victim, as we now know, had just had one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of anesthesia.
Ah!
Expertly done, partner.
Gotcha, bitch!
What is this nonsense, you little upstart? These are baseless accusations. Just look at this photographic evidence. You can clearly see the plate of food at the victim's table.
Objection!
Use your head. That's the very discrepancy we were talking about. Or can't you follow the logic?
How dare you?
I think it's fair to say that the tables in this restaurant case have turned. Wouldn't you agree, Ryunosuke? Yes, most definitely.
So, having just undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat. Which leaves one crucial conundrum. Who, in fact, was eating the pictured beefsteak? The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new puzzle. I assume you're ready, counsel? Counsel? Oh, that means me, doesn't it? All right, the answer to this question is going to be pivotal. This is the start of you turning this trial around. Show them what you're made of. Got it. So, the person eating the steak at the victim's table must have been... Obviously, it can only have been someone else who was sitting at the professor's table. You will not let this go, will you? There was no such person.
Yes.
There was, because I saw her. When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything. Yet we have evidence of a half-eaten steak on his table. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was somebody else eating it. We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It's clear that these witnesses' testimonies are unreliable. If the court decides to push through a ruling at this stage, we will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial relentlessly. Cosimo.
Oh, you wanna go, bitch? Let's go!
Are you insane? You would take on the government? Don't worry, counsel. I have no issue with you. What do you mean? I have issue with them, those two witnesses on the stand. What? What are you talking about? We have demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone. So if it now turns out that the two of you deliberately lied while giving your testimonies, obviously you will be charged with perjury. Perjury? And since this is a murder trial, you will also be deemed complicit in the killing. Complicit in murder? No! No! Negative! There was no mention of this at the tactical meeting. I was just following orders. That's right, as the man says. Just say you never saw the gentlewoman. That's what they told us.
Excuse me, bitch?
Oh. What? What did you just say, Korakura-san? No. You were just following orders? Now, hold on, lad. I was... You say you never saw the gentlewoman? Ugh. When you say gentlewoman, do you mean you saw the victim with the lady from overseas? What? What is the meaning of all this? These witnesses gave false statements? Is this true, you pair? Just one. Just one simple slip of the tongue. Order. Counsel, explain what's going on here. It's painfully clear now. You tried to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth. Absolutely not! The prosecution knows nothing of this. Then who's behind this? Who tried to make you keep your mouth shut? That's classified. So you're prepared to be tried as a conspirator to the murder, are you? You wouldn't. This can't be happening. Ryunosuke, judging from the way they're reacting to this, I'd say they're sworn to silence by someone with
considerable influence. However, I don't believe Ayuchi had any idea about it. What are you saying? I mean, to wield that kind of influence, there are only a handful of possibilities. It could have only been the government, the military, or the police, I suppose. Well, any ideas about who might be behind this? If we can affirm who tried to silence these witnesses, we can continue our pursuit. So we need to name whoever it was that tried to make the witnesses keep their mouth shut. Of course, we'll need evidence before we make any firm accusations. Evidence that proves whoever it was really did wield his or her power here. But how? How can we possibly? Remember how we made progress before? Before? We examined this piece of evidence in more detail and found a new clue as a result. Oh yes, that's right! Well, that's not the only piece of evidence we have, is it? We need to re-examine everything and make sure there's nothing we've missed. There's no time to lose. The business card! I want answers. If it is proven that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you the penalty will be severe.
Please, wait! Your Excellency! I had no idea about any of this. I swear to every Shinto god. I knew nothing.
And what does the defense have to say about all this? Well, Your Excellency, no time to think. I'm just gonna have to close my eyes and shut out the first thing that comes to my head. No, not this one. Wait a minute. Is he not? He's not a waiter? Besides the prosecution, the only person with necessary influence to manipulate the witnesses is...
Yes!
Well, surely that would be Satoru Hosonaga-san. Hosonaga-san? The waiter who took the stand earlier?
Attention!
Poppycock! What possible reason would the waiter have to make these witnesses give false testimony? Not to mention the fact that even a head waiter could not have possibly have that level of influence.
For once, I would agree with you. If, that is, the man truly were a waiter.
What? If he truly were?
Come on, Ryunosuke. Time to hit this court with the truth. The truth about Satoru Hosonaga-san's real identity as proven by this evidence.
Yes!
I'm not sure what this is supposed to prove, Counsel.
I think, Your Excellency, that what this proves is not the true nature of the waiter, but the true nature of the accused. Sorry? A blackguard who was stooped to presenting irrelevant evidence to incriminate an innocent man. That is the true nature of this rookie.
Try again. Go over all the evidence we have one more time. There's something in there that proves this waiter really is. I'm sure of it. I got it. What is? Look, do you see it says the witness's name here? Satoru Hosonaga. Well, yes, business cards do tend to show the person's name. That's sort of the point. It's not the name that's unexpected. It's his job title. His job? Oh, Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. Inspector? What on earth? That's an investigator. I have no idea, but let's face it, the police have a lot of power and influence if they're wielding it somehow here. Alright, now it's been updated.
Yes!
The plan of the restaurant sketched by the man in question? I agree it shows a great detail of attention to detail. Wait, what? Oh my god, I'm tired. But I'm not sure we can conclude anything. Sorry, Your Excellency, that's the back of the card. It's the back of the card that's of interest. I beg your pardon? Or perhaps I should have said the front? Yes, it's the front of the back of the card. That's where the telling detail is. Would somebody please explain what this overexcited student is trying to say? Hosonaga-san sketched the plan of the restaurant on the reverse side of his business card. The front of that business card reveals the man in question's profession, his true profession. The waiter's profession? But that's surely... Good gracious! That's right, Your Excellency. The card reads Chief Inspector, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. What? The waiter is a police detective? I haven't heard any mention of this before. Why haven't I heard any mentions of this before? The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power, absolute power, as far as regular civilians are concerned. So, witnesses there in the stand. Was it in fact the waiter who gave you your orders? Was it he who told you not to mention that you've seen this foreign gentlewoman at the scene? Well... Inspector Hosonaga!
Bruh.
I was worried something like this might happen. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realized it was a possibility. That's because you was dumb and you drew it on the back of your fucking business card, idiot. I strive to carry out all investigations flawlessly. It's my guiding principle. But I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusually careless mistake. So, you mean to say you're really a detective? But why would a detective be working as a restaurant waiter? Ah, of course, your salary must be terrible. I was working undercover. Undercover? Yes. There have been a series of incidents at the restaurant recently. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter working undercover. Incidents at the restaurant? What kind of incidents? That would be classified police information, which I am not at liberty to divulge. However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide. Very well then, Inspector Hosonaga. But you will elaborate on one point for the court. Of course, Your Excellency. We have just heard new information from these two witnesses beside you. That at the time of the shooting, there was in fact another person present at the victim's table. That is indeed true. Clearly, you would have also been aware of this person's presence, having served the table in question. However, as your testimony, you did not allude to this other diner. Therefore, I am led to assume that you, in your professional capacity as a police officer, you require these witnesses to be in agreement. Would that be correct? Correct, Your Excellency.
Unbelievable!
As I suspected.
Miss Gigi!
As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out of the kitchen to see what had happened. The victim sat slumped in his chair, and beside him, the gun in hand, stood the accused student. Standing opposite the victim at the same table was a young woman who I guess to be an Englishwoman. So the truth comes out. I immediately sealed off the restaurant and reported the incident to the Bureau. It was then that I received some special orders. Special orders? You mean to say, remove the Englishwoman from the scene at once? It was made clear that the Englishwoman's presence at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders. But what if this Englishwoman was the killer? I think it would be in everyone's best interest not to pursue that idea. The Empire views the friendly terms of its relationship with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An Englishman has been murdered on our soil. To name an Englishwoman as the primary suspect, well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question. So that's the reason for the disappearance of the Phantom Woman in this case. But it's not right. One possibility does spring to mind. What do you mean, Kazuma? Yume University is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain, and I'm fairly certain that one of them studying in the medical faculty research laboratory is a young Englishwoman. What? You're a shrewd man. I can see why you're the chosen candidate for the overseas study tour. You mean, when I removed the woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first. Then the court demands that you name the lady in question at once, Inspector. The Englishwoman sitting at the university's professor table was surely Miss Giselle Brett. She is indeed a foreign student studying in the research laboratory of Yume University's medical faculty.
What? What is happening to me?
I admit that under orders from the police bureau, I erased all evidence of this lady's presence at this scene and ordered these witnesses to make no mention of her in their testimonies. It must be up to Your Excellency to decide how to deal with this situation. Very well. My thoughts on the matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented to the court has been underpinned by a particularly critical premise, namely that the victim was dining alone. However, as we have now discovered that this premise is false, it would be a discretion of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point.
But, Your Excellency, that would mean missing the noon deadline of a ruling in order to send the telegraphic report to Great Britain. Our own government will surely be very displeased by such actions.
Calm yourself, Counsel. I will not allow the government of our country or any other to influence the proceedings of my courtroom.
Ah!
Inspector Hosanaka. Yes, sir. You will locate this Giselle Brett and bring her to the courtroom with the utmost urgency. At once, Your Excellency.
But that means you'll be going against the special orders you were given from the police bureau.
As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly. So it won't be a problem? Nothing will get in my way. Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution must call the English student Giselle Brett to the stand. Do I make myself clear?
Yes. Your Excellency.
Good. Then we will have a 30-minute recess before reconvening. To be continued. Perfect timing. It's just hitting 1 o'clock. Ooh, and they autosave. Okay, go. First off, before we do anything, text skip on. Yes. All right. This is actually pretty interesting. I like how they eased into the tutorial, but still, like, it's a very interesting case. So I'm excited to see what else they have in store on this game. I'm tired. My throat hurts. I need to drink some damn tea. All that damn yelling and voice acting. But I hope y'all enjoyed it as well. If you did, be sure to hit that thumbs up. We will be playing this again. So yay, we got another game that hasn't made it to the graveyard. Yeah, I will see you all tomorrow, the first day of February. That's what's up. It seems like a lot of y'all are enjoying it. Okay, hopefully it keeps the same trajectory. So, all right, y'all. Have a good night, and until the next one, be blessed. Oh shit! I didn't mean to do that. Good night.